Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another amazing episode here on the Train How Live Strong podcast. Today we have a third-time returning guest speaker, and I'm so happy to introduce once again Shannon Montgomery.
Hello.
What's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. This is, it's so crazy because we do live close.
Close.
I guess close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. And this whole time I never thought to come here and do an interview in person.
Yeah.
And you're right here.
I know. Well, it's funny because I feel like for us here in the Texas, Houston area, we think we're close to one another.
Right.
But anywhere else in the country, people are like, that's so far.
Right, 45 minutes.
45 minutes. And we're like, oh, we're both in Houston.
Yeah, it's not that far. No, but it's, and it's pretty cool over here. Like I said, I've never been over here before. So it's really cool.
More often.
I know. I feel like I never leave that area. So I live in Woodland, Tomball Spring.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle, I guess they would say.
Yeah. I grew up out there. So
yeah,
my mom still, my mom and dad.
Still live over there?
Still live out in the Woodlands. My older sister,
dang.
my whole family does. I don't know what I'm talking about. My older sister and her husband.
Everybody.
They live in the Woodlands. Yeah.
So
I call it the
probably very
Woodlands.
close to them then. I'm probably very close to them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 'cause I'm right there. Huffsmith.
Next time I'll come up to you because
see?
then I can go say hi to the family.
And you can hit the hidden gem.
Yes,
hidden gem that no one knows about.
Exactly.
But obviously you've had, so she's been on the show. This is her third time. So people know kind of who Shannon is right now. But for everyone who's newer that doesn't know who you are, because this is your third time here, and you have a lot of stuff that's been changing in your life, especially now that we're here for the third time. But real quick, can you give just a background story on just how you became who you are today?
Okay. Just a quick background story.
Just a quick one. Fast forward.
Okay. So in the last so I'm 33 years old. So in the last 33 years, I pretty much was born and raised in Texas. I went to school in Florida, and Florida definitely impacted who I am today.
Really?
For sure. I lived there for 11 years before I came back to Texas. Anyway, so that's a whole other story. But so as an adult, I guess in my current life, as I am now, I'm a lawyer. I'm into fitness. I compete in bodybuilding. I am a retired powerlifter. Thank you, back surgery. And as a lawyer, I practice a solo practitioner. I work with fitness companies and brands, supplement companies. I do a lot of intellectual property work and contracts. And yeah, I'm just a 33-year-old gal living in Houston.
Lifting weights, doing some cool stuff.
Lifting and trying to stay healthy and just enjoy life.
So cool. I think one of the biggest things that obviously aside from everything you talk about and everything that you do, your Instagram handle, how it says lifting lawyer, that was the biggest thing. I was that is such a unique, so cool though. So cool.
No, I hate it, but it's too late to change it now.
Yeah,
and everybody always feels that way. Everyone's like, no, it's great, leave it.
And you're like, no.
But yeah, when I was in law school, I graduated undergrad in 2010. I went right into law school. Instagram wasn't really, in fact, I don't think Instagram existed until my second year of law school.
Right.
And what we would use it for would be to edit our photos and then put them on Facebook. So no one really used it. And then I, for some reason, fell into the bodybuilding rabbit hole on Instagram. And so I was like, you know what? I'm into fitness. I want a fitness Instagram. So I made a private account and I called it Lifting Lawyer so that no one would find it because I was in law school and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
All the other fitness accounts were
so-and-so
Shannon
fit.
squats
Yeah.
or, just all these things fit this, fit that. And I was like, how am I going to make lifting or my fitness stuff match with my lawyer stuff?
Right.
So I've been trying since day one to somehow meld my lawyer side with my fitness side. And that was step one.
And that was
creating that Instagram.
Dude, it's so cool. I remember seeing it for the first time and I was like, that's so unique. Because every time you see other people, you're everyone's unique, Everyone has different creativity skills. And you're always saying that you're not creative, but that's such a creative name. I think it's so crazy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, okay. So aside from all that stuff, the last time that we talked for the second episode, you were at a point in time where you were having back pains already. And I remember before we started recording that episode, you were saying just how bad your pain was. And just by sitting in the chair, how much it was hurting you. And you probably had that for quite a while before we did that episode. So, and then now you already gone through the surgery, you've gone through all that stuff. So how was that entire process?
Yeah. Well, so everyone asks too if there was like an event that caused the injury.
Right.
And unfortunately, I don't think there was. I think it was just years and years of overuse. I was in a car accident in 2016, and that's when I was officially told, hey, because I have a couple other ones. I have herniations in my neck, and then L4 is herniated. But the L5S1 is the one that gave me all the problems.
Are the other ones just not too severe yet?
No, I guess not. I mean,
okay. Like
especially-
slight herniation.
I've had upper back spasms before where I've had to like get an Uber to a hospital to get a steroid shot so that I could actually breathe.
Right.
But that has only happened once. And since that point, I've been very careful. I don't do a lot of overhead work. For powerlifting, you don't need it. For bodybuilding, aside from like military press, I don't, so that was never really an issue. I think I just take care of my neck a lot better. But with the low back, obviously I load my spine continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, lifting way too much. But then last year I started a contest prep, which was the first prep I had done in 4 years. And I think my body was basically like just done with my shit. And I do distinctly remember having to do good mornings. And those kind of had always bothered me, but I chose to do them anyway for whatever reason. Partially because we were working out in our garage because of the shutdown and everything. So I was limited on what I could do.
Seems fucking lockdown.
I know, but I had a barbell. So I was like, okay, I can do good mornings, whatever. And then the next day I was just like, something doesn't feel right. And it just got worse and worse and worse. I made it through the contest prep. I only ended up doing one show because that was all I could handle. And then when we were got connected.
Yeah, because it was after that show, I believe.
It was after the show. It started to rapidly decline. And then I got to a point where, kind of like I was telling you earlier, I couldn't stand or walk for longer than like 20 seconds at a time. So I was like literally laying on my stomach. And my friends, they would walk in, to the house or whatever, and I'd just be laying on the couch on my stomach because I couldn't get the pressure.
Right.
I mean, the sciatic nerve was just being crushed.
Right.
And the pain is so hard to explain because it varied throughout the day. And sometimes it would feel like my leg was on fire. Sometimes it would feel like my leg was numb. Sometimes I would have no control of my leg. Sometimes it would just be like this constant pressure and like a stabbing. It was just, I literally.
So many different types of pain.
So many things. And I tried everything. I mean, I had done physical therapy. I had done chiropractic. I had done facet blockers and shots.
Okay.
Oh, man, that one epidural I got, I think he did something. And after that, it got even worse, which I was like, I've had epidurals before in my neck and they've helped.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this will probably this is the ticket. Didn't help, made it worse. So finally,
maybe just because the disc was so herniated at that point already.
Yeah. So finally, I was able to get an MRI, see how big the herniation actually was, and then I went through. It took me probably 3 surgeons to find somebody that could get me on their schedule and all of that.
Because this was going on. You got the surgery during like a high time in COVID or like a high peak time?
It was September of last year, so they were still. So the problem was they had. So the surgery was an elective surgery because
it was an elective surgery.
It was close to not being elective, just based on a lot of my symptoms. Like I started to get that foot drop.
Where you're dragging.
And so they were like, okay, you're at the point where you need to get this done. But they were also backed up because nobody had been getting surgeries. And then all of those restrictions started getting lifted. So these surgeons started working again, but their schedules were just so full. So I had the surgeon that I ended up choosing, who he works with like the Texans and U of H and Rice, which is why I chose him.
That's awesome
because I wanted
athletic, right?
Yes, so he knows an athlete brain. He works with athletes. I chose him for that reason. He rescheduled me twice, and the second time he rescheduled me, his office manager, who was wonderful. I mean, they were all very wonderful. I just started bawling on the phone. I was like, I cannot wait a single.
It's just too much.
Long day longer. I can't. And they actually told me, they were like, well, he has a shift at the hospital if you want to check yourself into the hospital. And I was like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, bye.
Because otherwise it was going to be a month and a half.
Right.
And
oh my God. Imagine.
Yeah. I was like, are you people kidding me?
Right.
I was like, and I remember like hanging up the phone, and I was in the car with my boyfriend, and I was crying so hard, and he was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, take me to the hospital. His shift started on like 2 days after that phone call. And I was like, I don't care. We're going. I don't care if they refuse. I was like, this is an emergency. We're going.
Yeah.
And that's what I ended up doing, because otherwise it would have been, who knows? I would have been like, okay, sure, put me on a schedule in a month from now. And then they call me again and bump me. And I was like,
no way. And that's like, at that point, if you wait 30 days, you never know how much that disc can just keep pushing towards.
Exactly. I mean, and like I wasn't eating. I wasn't able to do any activity. Like I would go to the gym, of course, and sit like on something, you know, like I would sit on something and like do something with my arms.
You're just like, no, I can't.
I got to a point at first where I could do, I pretty much had to be, I don't know why, but I pretty much had to be bent over, like hip hinged at all times.
Well, because then your pelvis goes
sort of
posteriorly, right? It kind of takes pressure off.
Yeah, and it sort of would take that pressure off. So I would walk on the Stairmaster, like
hunched
bent over.
Yeah.
And then that became too much. And then I was doing the bike, and then even putting pressure on my leg to do the bike became too much. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'll go and do the arm thing. And I would sit there and do that arm thing.
Oh, fuck, I can't.
It's ridiculous.
Start doing these grip things.
Yes. I was like, I can't just not do some kind of exercise.
Yeah.
So I was literally, the day that I made Jake take me to the hospital, I was at the gym that morning, like sitting on a little thing.
Trying.
But that was it. I mean, was all I could do to keep my mind off of things, but like I wasn't eating. I was having a really hard time working just because I couldn't focus on anything.
Because you can't, man.
When clients would be like, we need to have this meeting, I would be like on the meeting and just all I could think about was my back. So I wouldn't even be listening. But yeah, so thankfully I was able to do that, get that surgery. And it's a minor surgery. It's just they call it a microdiscectomy. The surgeon, according to him, it takes like 20 minutes. They go in. My scar isn't even that big. It's like,
they're like, dude, I've been with this pain for like months.
Yes,
and it takes fucking 20 minutes.
Just go in and they, I don't know, suck it out.
Yeah.
So after that, I mean, it was almost like
Immediate relief?
Immediate relief.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can just feel for you.
It was like, I mean, of course you feel like you got hit by a Mack truck just from surgery.
Right, of course.
But aside from that, literally like 2 days later, I was like, oh, I'm great.
Like even that pain from the surgery wasn't even close to
oh my God, nothing.
Right.
Everyone was like, okay, so after surgery, like it's pretty painful. And I had a lawyer friend who had the same surgery, and she told me the same thing, like, oh, the pain after is so bad. And I was like, I would take this pain all day long, every day. This is fantastic. I can stand up,
right?
You know, and I can stand here and just stand here all day long if I want to.
It means you pushed it. Like really pushed it. Like
yeah,
with pain, you pushed it.
Yeah, and I had no idea really how much pain I was in until I wasn't in it anymore, and I was like, wow. So I feel I don't know how people do it. I mean, I know there are people in this world, especially I know the statistics on back pain in this country are insane, and people just live with that chronic pain. I feel like my heart just plummets when someone says they have an injury that just has them in chronic pain, because I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. If there was not a fix for it, or if there was something that, you know, it was something I couldn't fix right away, I probably would have turned to drugs or alcohol or something. I mean,
it's too much,
because you literally just can't live inside your own head because it hurts so bad.
Well, everything that whole section there is your central nervous system, and that's what controls like your entire body. So I can totally understand how like you can't even your brain's trying to focus on this thing that's happening to the actual central portion. Yep. So yeah, like being able to just perform as a human being, I could see how it'd be so difficult.
Yeah, and it's funny because since I had done the contest prep, I was real skinny. And like low body fat, trying to put on weight. I couldn't put on weight to save my life. Yes, I towards the end was having trouble eating, but before that, when I was still able to eat, but I think because my body was trying so hard to just operate, that it was like no matter how much food I took in, it was not going to gain weight. Right. So that's another thing that I just hadn't thought about. You know, as your body is an amazing magical machine, but it can only take so much.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it was telling me like, hey, we are so done here.
Can't do it no more.
Yeah.
So I guess to clarify for everybody, what was it that was like the main, what happened? Like what was wrong with?
So the L5S1 disc just herniated, like, and I forget what the surgeon said. He said it was one of the biggest herniations he'd ever seen. Right. And so the the juices of the disc.
There you go.
Which freaks
That's fine.
me
We'll
out.
simplify this.
I'm
right
like, how is it a juice and it hurts this bad? But it's a liquid.
Yeah.
And it comes out. And
because the nerve, like anything with the nerve.
yeah,
man,
and it's
anything.
just ever so slightly. Well, this one was crushing, but my sciatic nerve and then other little nerves around there were just being like pressed on constantly.
Right.
And they actually were damaged, and I'm finally getting to a point where I don't have nerve pain anymore. I still have back pain, but not nerve pain, which tells me the nerve is finally starting to heal. But they did say, like, those nerves, they get severed almost, and they will regenerate, but it takes a long time.
Right.
So that's what was happening. It was just like my spine, here's the nerve pressing real hard. And so I couldn't, it just, you lose the ability to walk. You lose all kinds of stuff. And like, honestly, you lose control of like being able to go to the bathroom. And that's when it's like a real true emergency.
Like you just can't do the functions that you need to do.
You can get paralyzed because those discs are so low.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. And it was, for the discectomy part, they just go in and like take that liquid out.
Take it out. Yeah.
That's
deflate it basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then suddenly you feel fine. It's so weird, but
that's nuts.
Yeah.
The spine is like, that's something that's very scary. It is. So I can only imagine,
It is.
So right now, okay, so why did you wait? Because I know pain was there already, maybe very minor, and people right now might be dealing with pain that's very similar to what you dealt with, but it's so minor. Hey, I'll just take an ibuprofen or a Tylenol, or I'll just stretch, or maybe it's because my squat is wrong, or maybe I'm butt waking too much, or whatever it is. So I'm just gonna fix it.
Yeah.
So like, why did you continue to go? Like what?
So I will say I've thrown out my back probably 3 times, to the point of, when I know so many people who've dealt with this, where like you can't put your shoes on,
Yeah.
You wake up the next day and you're like, everything's so tight.
You can't bend.
You can't move.
Right.
You can't touch your toes, nothing. And it takes months, weeks, whatever, to get back to normal. So that had happened to me numerous times, and I would ignore it every single time, because I would be able to go see a chiropractor, do the physical therapy, whatever, stretch, cryo, all the stuff, enough to get me back in the gym.
Right.
And then once I was back in the gym, the minor back pain, as long as I can move, I'm fine with the minor pain. Excedrin Back and Body and I were best friends, for years. And it was because I was an idiot. Like that's the truth. Like I'm the kind of person who likes to grind. I always have. And when it comes to the gym, my mindset was always, that's part of the process.
Yeah, right.
The harder you grind, the more you're going to see, the more results, or the more PRs you'll hit. Especially when it comes to powerlifting, it's like, this is supposed to suck. It's supposed to be hard. And that is true. It is supposed to be difficult if it's not challenging you, if you're not progressively overloading. You're not changing anything. But it's not supposed to murder you and have you go through, seasons. I mean, it would be literally every single year. And I would say, oh yeah, at about this time of year, my back goes out.
Oh my gosh,
and then I
like
just
clockwork.
need a couple months to get back on my feet and get back to doing things normal.
And I'm good.
That's not normal.
Right.
You should not do that.
No.
And I had plenty of doctors tell me it's because you you probably have herniated discs. And after that car accident, we found out for sure you have herniated discs. Unfortunately, the doctors I saw after that car accident were very adamant about just never lifting again. And so part of the problem was I didn't come into contact with the right people. I was like, well, the option isn't never lift again.
Right.
The option is change the way you lift. And here are the tools to do that. But I never had that.
Right.
So it was stop lifting, or me making a decision and just continuing doing what I did.
Right.
And that, I could have sought out better resources and things. But again, years ago, so I will say the last time my back went out was 2018. So I should have known better. Prior to that was sometime in 2017, I was in transition between jobs and stuff. And so again, I just kind of ignored it. The 2016 time was when I had the crappy doctors.
Dang. So within like 5-6 years, your back was just throwing out.
It was just constantly going out. And I actually, 2018, it went out in April, and I competed at USAPL Nationals in October of that year. Dang. And I probably should not have done that.
Right. Because that whole time, obviously, you're cutting too, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you're depleting yourself and you're pushing limits.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, it was years of overuse and just not having the right information or the right support to know what I should do. Mm-hmm. And then also partially 100% like fearful of changing the way I train.
Right.
And disconnecting from being that girl that is always lifting heavy, you know, because everyone's always coming up to me in the gym being like, oh my God, like how much is that on the bar? Like, what are you doing?
You're like, bro, count it.
Yeah, of course.
Give me a second.
Of course that like is, so you start to identify as that
I'm strong,
person.
right?
I am a strong, especially like there was the whole movement of women are strong and da-da. And I was like, yeah, I am strong. Like I want to be that girl. I want to show women that you get to be strong and you can push weight in the gym. And you absolutely can, and you can be that woman, but you also have to be taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't, you know?
Right.
And I just had a really hard time like letting go of that. And so I think this was, you know, God's way of telling me like, no choice, you're letting go of it
this
now.
Is it. Right. So I think, and I like now that, so do you think your view on let's talk about just pain, right? Do you think, and especially just with just your body, right? Like a joint pain or maybe like a muscular pain, or like now you can identify different types of pain now, but do you think your mentality of pain has changed since you've been through this?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I honestly think I used to think of pain as like a badge of honor. Which is so
that's
stupid.
So crazy you say that because that's so true. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like athletes in general, and not that I'm like or was some big athlete. I really wasn't. I was a gymnast, cheerleader, like whatever.
Yeah, but to yourself and your world, you are training elite to you.
Exactly.
So that is elite.
So and I think part of that is just the culture. You know, we all think like, oh, look at me, look at this injury, look at that, but look how badass I still am because I'm still in the gym.
Right.
Pain is weakness or whatever, leaving the body, whatever that stupid
whatever it is. Yeah.
Which I hate, but you know, like that was the whole mentality, like such a bro, like meathead. I always say I'm a meathead.
Yeah.
Such a meathead thing and way to think. Now I'm like, okay, what hurts? How do I address it? What can I do? Not in the, oh, this hurts, I'm not going to the gym today, because I'm still not that person, but oh, this hurts. So what am I doing in the gym today to make sure that I'm not aggravating this and to make sure that I'm making it better?
Right.
You know, I still do get mad at people when they're like, oh, I'm sore, I can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you can. Just do something slightly different. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never be that person, but I'm definitely not the girl that's like, okay, I couldn't put my shoes on this morning, but I'm going to squat today anyway. Like,
yeah, because that's smart, huh?
No, don't squat, you idiot.
That's so crazy. You said, you know, I never thought of it like that, like a badge of honor. It is.
Yeah.
You know, I used to, so in the Army, we used to do like ruck marches, and it'd be like for like 12 miles, called 20Ks, right? And I was a paratrooper, so I jump out of planes, and after we landed, we do like a bunch of stuff, right? But we're always carrying a bunch of equipment all the time. So whenever I was in the military, I was also kind of like mentally not in the best position in my life. So I enjoyed pain because it kept me like focused and alive, kind of.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying. That's why it makes sense. I just never thought of it like that. But I think maybe that's why I found happiness in it. But I would purposely go to the gym before like a ruck march or before like a PT day where I knew we were going to do something that you would, I guess a regular person would be like, hey, I need to make sure I'm okay for this. I would show up not okay and then push myself through that pain, because then I felt like I'm bettering myself. Like mentally, I feel like I'm breaking down like these walls where if I go through something in my life, or if something happens in the military and I get hurt or whatever the case may be, I've been training with pain.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was trying to like get stronger or get more aesthetic or whatever. I was trying to solely find happiness in training and find happiness with myself, but also train in painful situations where I can push through no matter what, right? But I would always think that. I'd always think that I was better than somebody else because I can train like this. I can do this in pain. And like you don't train, dude. Like you just go to the barracks and you hang out and
just do your thing.
Yeah, and then you come here and then you're doing this, and like I still beat you.
Yeah.
But then I'm doing like harm to myself,
right?
You know, and it became self-abuse.
Right, it does, and it becomes, and it's such an ego thing. Oh,
absolutely.
And I feel like the
there's
military.
No reason.
Right.
There's no reason why you should be squatting when your back hurts, dude. Like, who are you trying to impress?
So silly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're trying to impress yourself,
Exactly.
right? Because there's something missing or something that you're not like addressing personally, you know. And I would say military probably individuals who are in the military are probably all very similar in the way we view or the way you guys, because you're hardworking and you think like part of it is okay, but I want to work hard. You know, I want to prove that I can do this. But at the end of the day, it's like, who are you proving this to? Right? Because you have the other people that are in the military that aren't working like that. Right. They're just doing what they need to do.
And then they might be doing fine.
Right.
Just as good as me, maybe even.
Right.
You know?
And they actually don't feel like crap, you know?
Right.
I mean, I feel like you probably feel like crap all the time in the military, but military aside, you know? And like for me personally, like, I don't know if it's just the mentality, and not that my dad like tried to make us into something, but I think watching my dad and the way he was and the way he treats himself and treated himself. Right. You know, he was an athlete. He was a police officer. He was perpetually doing things that were unhealthy for his own, you know, like, I guess, praise and his own sake. Right. And so I saw that and I thought, okay, this is how you act. And it's crazy to think that it took me, I was 32. So last year when I had the surgery, it took me I've been lifting since I was 15. So it took me over 15 years and a back surgery to like let go of all of that, you know?
And I think it's not cool, but I think it's necessary. Like your mentality or your mindset, you would have never probably figured out how to think this way or the way you do now, or how to cherish health and how to like, I'm not saying you never cherished health before, but you would push and without listening to the body, right? Because I remember today you were saying too, like now you focus so like hard on that mind to body connection, really dialing into yourself. But one thing that you did say is, and I was thinking about it right now whenever you said it, but with like what you're trying to deal with personally, I think that's like huge when you think of it like on a subconscious level, because there's things that are about us, right, that we have no idea that it's affecting us, or an ego or something that we're trying to like impress within ourselves. And you might think like, I'm not trying to impress myself, you know, because I'm trying to just do good, like it's what I'm supposed to do. But in life or personally, if someone said something to you and you say, you know, well, it doesn't bug me, I'm okay, but like subconsciously it does bug you, you're trying to fight this. I think that can happen with multiple things in life, and that is what causes you to just push through boundaries and limits, which is, I guess, okay. You know, you need to go through your own story and figure it out, just like how you did. But I think if we really do dial into understanding ourselves more by going through these little scenarios, I'm not saying everyone go out there and get back surgery, but
please don't, unless you need it. If you need back surgery, get
then get it, right? But other than that, like I feel like it's you know, because I'm pretty sure if I was in your shoes, and because I'm going through an injury right now, but like not too severe, but if I didn't have caught it, then I wouldn't have been, it would have been worse, right? But, and I'll tell you about it right now, but by you going through your situation, like it just makes you grow into the person that you're becoming, that you can, you know, I guess just be fully an understanding of yourself and your body.
Yeah. It's really funny, or it's interesting, I guess, to me that it took an injury like this, because I've had plenty of injuries in my life. I mean, we all have.
And that's the problem too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh,
it's just another injury.
Yeah.
But this is the one that, I mean, like I told you, like I couldn't stand, like I couldn't walk my dog anymore. I didn't want to make food because I didn't want to be standing to eat. Right. It took that level of an injury for me to really assess, like, why am I this way? What is it about, you know? And I'm going to be honest, which I told you this earlier, I was so scared that after the surgery that I was kind of twofold, really. I was scared that I would go back to being the person that I was, the ego, the letting that run, you know, control how I train and everything. But then I was also scared that I was going to just let it all go and be like, I don't even want to lift anymore. I don't want to train anymore. Because I can't find enjoyment in this new style of training. Right. Because I can't power lift anymore. I was really scared that that was going to impact me. And as it turns out, it didn't matter. Yeah, because I love to be in the gym. And I should have known, right?
See, you lose track of that, right?
Yes,
and
you do.
It brings it back to,
exactly. You lose track of like the initial why. And it's like, oh, no, you idiot. You just love working out. It's just, you're just going to work out a different way, you know? And like now it's different. I do work out totally different. I don't train heavy. I can't. I maybe will hopefully build up my strength a little bit once I'm out of this new contest prep that I'm in. But I'll never powerlift again. And I'm okay with that. That's totally fine. But finding new ways to train, learning PT, like actually learning to take care of myself has been a whole new challenge and a new adventure that I didn't think I would enjoy or even need. And here I am, and I'm just like, you know what? Every day I'm loving this. Like, because at the end of the day, it's really just about training, and however that looks is fine. It's not about the 315 on the bar. Every now and then, like a time hop will come up, and it'll be like me hitting 305 for 2 or something on a squat, and I'll be like, I miss it, but that's all it is. It's a memory. It is a thing that I did once, and that was great.
You did accomplish it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That was you.
That was me. I did that, but I am not that anymore, and that's totally fine. You know,
doesn't mean that you're weaker. Yeah. Doesn't mean anything less of who you are.
Exactly.
You know?
But it's such a weird, like it's a very weird thing to go through mentally, and also I think I had a hard time even knowing that I was going through that. You know, like self-reflecting and realizing all those things, because. You know, everybody had a really tough year last year. And then getting the surgery and going through all of those things. And I was just like
what the hell, dude?
Yeah. Like, I think it was probably like February. And I sat back, and when I was finally getting back to the gym, I had been cleared, you know, going back to training and everything. And I was just like
brand new again.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I actually just went through quite a bit. And here I am. And here's like kind of the new version, you know? But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you know, the human psyche is
crazy.
A crazy place.
Absolutely, man. No, it is 100%. One thing, if I was in your shoes as well, I think another way I would have thought was like, and I know training is not like a person, right? It's not a thing. But whenever you have been doing it for so long, right? Because I started training when I was 13, and it started with like hanging out with my buddies and stuff. And like I never liked being home because home was not like a great place for me to be. So I always wanted to be other places. And in the gym is where I found like my happiness and where I wanted to be all the time. And then, so I put like a face to training, I guess you could say, right? Like it's something that is like, has to be a part of my life, or else like I'll start. And if I'm doing something and like my training hasn't been, cause I'm doing like a lot of stuff, you know? So if I don't train like I'm supposed to, I'll start having like mood swings, I guess you could say, right?
I can see that.
And then I can like, but then now after years of this happening, I could see like and figure out that it's because my training. And then whenever I isolate a day to train and focus on myself, I feel better. And maybe it is too much of an like obsession or addiction, right? But if I was in your shoes, I would have felt like, you know, training's supposed to be here for me. You know, it's supposed to be something that's supposed to make me happy. And like this injury or this doctor or whatever is telling me that training is what caused this to me, you know? And so I would feel like betrayed kind of by training. And then, so my problem would be like, I would try to fight not to quit because I would feel like I would want to quit. Because then it's like, well, what is this going to do for me? And I feel like a lot of people that go through injuries, they, you know, they go through that type of mentality. Because quitting is easy. Especially whenever you feel like it's been taken from you. You know?
Yeah, I definitely, the betrayed is a good word for sure. Because initially I was like, I remember a conversation I had with myself in the car.
Hey, those are important to go through.
Seriously. And I remember just thinking, and I was like, I was crying because of the pain and everything. And like, I actually had to stop driving like a month after.
Because it's your right leg, right?
Because, I couldn't press the freaking gas pedal. So I was still driving at this point, but I was in pain. And I just remember like being like, why? Like, I hope it's okay I cuss, but like, what the fuck? Like, I have devoted my life to you.
It's supposed
training.
To make me better.
I have devoted every ounce of, I mean, like, my business is set up the way it is because I want to be able to train. I chose to go to certain classes and do certain things in school because of training. Like, I was like, I gave you everything. And then you are doing this to me. And I was really mad and I didn't understand and I felt totally betrayed. But at the end of the day, it's not the it wasn't the training. It was
I've
me.
always been here. Yeah. I'm just here.
It was me and my inability to see how I was using the training and what I was doing, and so that, like, once I figured that part out, that's when I realized, okay, training and I can be friends again.
Yeah.
We can
friends.
This will be fine.
That's funny you say that. I was thinking right now, you know how like in the movies you see like two kids, right? Like two boys, right? And they're growing up or whatever. I don't even know what's a good movie to relate it to. But like, and then they're growing up, and then one boy, a friend, stays the same, and the other boy's like becoming a football athlete, and they're changing, right?
Yeah.
But they still have always been like friends, but they're going apart. I feel like that's the kind of relationship we go through with training.
Yeah.
Training is always weights. It's always iron.
Yep.
It's always dumbbells, barbells. Always the same stuff, you know. And it's us.
Yes,
we're
that's
the
such
ones.
a good way to look at it.
Yeah, we're the ones that change through training. Either we build an ego, or we get too prideful, or we lose focus on, I try to always like go back to the first day I started training, because the first day I started training was like, the gym was like a playground. There's like a new environment, and like these people are like, we're all getting better and it's fun, and just being happy with the pump, and just being happy with like feeling like you're doing something, and just like simplifying training. But now you're becoming older and you're going through different like competitions and stuff. So like it becomes more serious, and now training is more of like, I have to do it.
Job.
I just have to, like, I have to. And then you start to lose focus on like, it's fun, and it still might be fun, but it's like, it's not as fun as it was whenever you're 15.
Yeah. It's not the same kind of fun. I mean, obviously we love, like, if you're a powerlifter, if you're a bodybuilder, like, you love the competition part of it. Otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Right.
But yeah, like that first gym that my dad took me to, I remember the gym owner, he was a guy from Louisiana. It was a tiny little gym out in Magnolia. He had a pit bull, and I walked into that gym and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a dog here. I'm gonna love this, And my dad was like, all right, we're gonna warm up. Let's walk on the treadmill. And then he brings me teaches me how to squat and do all these things. And I was like, all right, I can do this, you know? And it's a bunch of old men walking around, and they've probably full circled, right? They've been where we were the day we started. They've had the injury, they've had the ego,
go through something else again, and then
now they're back in the gym and they're just loving it. You know, they're just there because it's good for you, because they can. And I remember there was a point when I kind of envied, because my dad, again, probably where I get all of my negative habits from. He has a very bad back that he has refused to address all these years. Because he can just get by. He will talk to me all the time about training. He's like, well, I hope you're not, especially after my surgery. He's like, I hope you're not squatting anymore. I hope you're not doing this. And he doesn't do a lot of those things anymore. He'll leg press. Right. He says he can do walking lunges, but he has to do dumbbell lunges, So he's like, I can't do any of that stuff anymore, and you're going to not be able to either. And I used to just be like, no, I will never. That's just so stupid. But he's not wrong, like if I can't squat because my back's bothering me, I'm not going to squat. I will do the walking lunges holding a dumbbell. Right. I will do the leg press and enjoy it. Absolutely. And it's fine, and so he was right, as dads usually are. Right. But I just was ignoring him for all these years, but it makes sense because he went through the whole same thing. I mean, he was a competitive powerlifter. He was a cop. Cops their egos are as big as they can possibly be.
Powerlifting is hard on the body.
He did all of it, and now he's just the old guy in the gym that just shows up because he loves to be in a gym.
Right. And it's back to where first day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because he has to go through all those things, No, absolutely. And I also too, it's like, because I look at those people too, like, so whenever I first started training, Larry and Chris, these two dudes, man, I'll never forget them ever.
Larry and Chris.
Larry was a guy, he had no ring finger because he dropped a dumbbell and smashed it like a grape, completely, right? So now he's got like no ring finger. But these two guys never complained about body pains or nothing like that, right? And they're the ones that taught me what training was, because I first started going to the gym for like 2-3 hours a day and just, doing curls, because I thought doing 1,000 curls would make my biceps bigger and stuff like that. So just doing like high school stuff that I had no idea what I was doing, And I would always like pregame with tons of Taco Bell, dude. Like so much Taco Bell. I'm pretty sure my friends listen to this podcast and like, dude, I remember eating so much Taco Bell.
What did you get specifically?
Okay, so all right, so whenever Taco Bell in 2009, 10, they had this, and they might still have it now, but it's like a little game, and you drop a quarter or a nickel or something. I think you had to drop a quarter. And you drop a quarter, and it's water, and it has like these little spinners, and you have to make it on one.
I think I remember that.
You know what I'm talking about? And you make it on one, you get a free taco or you get a free burrito. But I always hit one that I get a free burrito all the time.
Nice.
Well, 25 cents. And that's how I would get my Taco Bell. And I became so good at it that the girl that was there, she would just give me food anyways, right? Like I never like had like too much money. But that's what I would do all the time. And so it was always like chicken burritos, and it was always soft tacos, and I would eat that, like get full and then go to the gym.
How'd you not puke? Because I feel like...
You know what's funny is that I can train now on a full stomach and be fine.
Really?
If it's just like training with weights.
Yeah.
If we're doing like
running
sprints, dude, no way. I can't. But yeah, so that's what it was all about, and that's what I was doing in the gym, and I was there for hours at a time. And that's so funny, dude. Going back to it's crazy when you think back like that.
Yeah.
I think
and
that's
Larry.
so cool. Yeah, Chris and Larry, dude. But yeah, they're the ones that taught me like what training was, and I learned a lot from them. But Larry, he was the oldest one. I think he was like in his 40s or late 40s, or maybe even early 50s at that time. But he had no other injuries besides that finger, right? And one thing about both of them is that they were on a strict program. They were always focusing on themselves, and they were always trying to just stay healthy. It was never like, I want to lift 120-pound dumbbells.
Right.
And they could just do it because they've been doing it for so long. But they really focused on like taking care of themselves and focusing on their joints, and not being too prideful or too ego high to where they are pushing themselves too much and they're getting injured or whatever. So I think like having that, I guess, like them mentoring me in the gym and kind of teaching me how to do this, because I jumped in the program fully, and it was like, hey, let's work out together, and I did for like 12 weeks or even longer. And then Larry moved. Sucker, dude. Broke my heart. But then I know Chris I talked to. Larry I haven't talked to in a long time.
That'd be cool to find him.
But he's like a grandpa now. He's probably still huge. He was huge. But yeah, they both would really focus on like their body and just dial into everything. But they were strong, and they didn't always, they pushed the limits, but they didn't like push their limit that they know of. And I think that was like huge for me to look at and watch whenever I was that young, because I was 13, 14 training with them. And I think that kind of like embedded in my head, like, because I've always been not nervous, but like if I'm gonna hit a PR, like I'm thinking to myself of all the bad things that could happen. Yeah. And then I'm always trying to like focus on what I'm doing right, because I need to do it right, but injury is always in the back of my head all the time. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure like what you've been through, whenever from in my side, I guess, whenever I get sick or something like a stomach bug or whatever, and it goes away, I'm like back to being healthy again or whatever. It's like I'm so happy I'm healthy again, because that shit sucked. Yeah. Like having that stomach bug or hangover or whatever it is sucked, right? Yes. So then you are happy and you cherish your health more. Because being in that pain was obviously like horrendous, something that was like unbearable. And now that you are here and you're able to sit down and conversate and and you feel good. Dude, is that crack? Is there a crack on the screen?
Probably. Whatever.
Oh my gosh. That's the second time she dropped it. Whoops. But yeah, so like I think always focusing on your health and always focusing on that. Just let training be fun, like it was, like it always is. But having that mind to body connection is huge.
Yeah, and I think the results that you're looking for will come without you micromanaging the way you train. I don't know. I mean, obviously you have to put in effort. You have to have a plan. You have to follow science if you want to reach a certain goal. Like if you have an aesthetic goal or a strength goal, there is scientific evidence to show us how we get there. But letting go a little bit of like how you think you're going to accomplish those things is really important. And I am very, very grateful. Like I obviously don't ever want to be in that pain ever again. And I tear up when people tell me, because I posted a video on TikTok about it, and I had a couple people message me, and then a girl tell me that she's like currently in the same, and I literally will cry for them because it's just so bad. But I am extremely grateful because it has shown me, I always appreciated my health. You know, I always thank God at night for being a healthy individual who has all 4 limbs and can breathe, you know.
Right.
But I didn't appreciate it the way I needed to.
Or just even just being able to walk, right? Or even
sit. Like, oh my God, not lay on my stomach for
hours or days at a time. Yeah. That must have been insane.
Yeah, it was weird. Weird times.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I guess the proper way to say it is I thought I appreciated it.
Right.
Know?
Until you go through something like this, right?
Right.
Yeah, because I feel like even though we still appreciate things, like, yes, you might be appreciating things, but like, do you really dive into the appreciation of like the simple, small stuff that we might take advantage of, you know? Because you can't even drive at the end of the day.
I know. So, I mean, I don't necessarily mind because I hate driving, especially around here.
Right.
People are crazy.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. I'd be like, Jake, I have to go to the store. Can you take me?
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh.
Like that does get a little bit annoying. But yeah, so I mean, I was unable to do basically anything.
Right.
It's funny that it took that much for me to like really sit down with myself and think things through and recognize where I was going wrong and where I needed to improve, and what true appreciation for something is. Mm-hmm. But you know, I've always been very stubborn and very hard-headed. So if that's
how to just break
those
shells, how to break through it all.
But please learn from me and don't try. You know, don't be that stubborn.
Right.
Like really,
just get it fixed for sure.
Yep, get fixed. Take care of yourself. Because even if you think you can make it through, even if you think you can power through, and you think you appreciate your health, and you think you're prioritizing your health, you might not be. Mm-hmm. You really might not be.
Right.
So you really need to sit and think about it.
Open your mind up a little bit.
Yep.
So it's cool that you're saying to push, right? So you got the surgery and you have competed again already. Yeah. And you're going to compete again.
Yes.
So, okay. So how is that now? Obviously being after post-operation.
Okay. So I competed last year and was done in June. And then I got the surgery in September. So June to September, I was basically useless. And then September, I got cleared in January. So I had to take all that time off. October, November, December for sure. And then cleared to be 100% in January. And I started working with a physical therapist. And I just, because of where I'm at in life, as far as how old I am, what goals I have, like personal goals I have over the next couple of years, this was really my last year. I keep feeling like it's my last year. It's not. I will definitely compete again, but it's going to be a while.
Good, yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I don't care that I was out of the gym. I don't care that I had this surgery. I want to compete this year, and let's just see what happens. Okay. So I started my contest prep in March after having 8 weeks, you know, of being back in the gym and lifting. Obviously, like lifting very differently. Right. And so that's really been it's been totally different. The prep has been really hard. I think part of it is because my body is like, you're doing this to us again, bitch? Like, we just got through. We just went through this whole ordeal with you.
I know. I'm changing it. Changing it.
And I have been very, very careful. I don't really squat. I don't really deadlift. Right. If I'm feeling good, I will. But I've changed the way I train. You know, I'm doing more just strictly bodybuilding type stuff. And, you know, bodybuilders are known for the higher rep, the slower rep, the more focused. Isolated. Yeah. I know there's a whole camp of people out there that are like, oh, you have to go to failure. And like, I'm not going to failure on leg extensions, bro. Sorry. Yeah. Like, I don't care that much, you know? So I'm doing a lot of, my surgeon was like, anything front loaded is fine. So I do kettlebell front squats. So you could do a barbell loaded front squat. Yeah, I can do barbell. I hate barbell front squats. So I don't like to do those. Oh my gosh. But like landmine squats, stuff like that, RDLs, just keeping things very controlled, slow. Right. I worked really hard on the core strength. Yes. And then every morning when I get in the gym, I'm spending, not a ton of time, but I'm spending at least 10 minutes warming up my core, warming up my glutes, getting everything activated. I wouldn't do that before. It'd be like, okay, touch my toes, stretch my hips. All right, I'm good to go.
That's good.
But now I'm really going through all of the things that I was taught in physical therapy.
Right.
And I had a great physical therapist here in Houston. I forget her name. I think it was Jessica at Select Physical Therapy, but she's a CrossFitter. And so her whole thing was getting people back to under the barbell. Right. And she was amazing. She really, really helped me and gave me like a great program. So I was confident that I could start a prep and I was in a good mental space. Right. And that I would handle it like a adult. So, because like a mature adult, right? Yeah. Like I'm gonna approach this contest prep like I have a goal. I want to turn pro. This was my shot. So I was like, in order to turn pro, I have to be healthy, like actually healthy. I have to be able to get on stage. Yeah. So we have to train with that in mind, right? And I actually did it, and I'm very proud of myself. Knock on wood. I have literally 11 days or 12 days left until this next show.
There you go.
And so far, I've had my moments where my back has bugged me. And the next day, the first time I was like, okay, I'm going to do upper body today. I'm not even training legs. It was supposed to be a leg day, but I didn't do it. I just moved it because what big deal? Yeah. Move it a couple days later.
Right. It's no big deal at all. Yeah. Right.
So I've definitely approached this totally differently than any other contest prep.
That's real good. So right now, there might be a lot of people, like you already know, people have messaged you because the video you put up that are dealing with this right now, this current pain. And I feel like a lot of people go through, back pain is like so common, so many different areas. Mm-hmm. Neck pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, any joint pain I feel like people are just going through, right? So if someone right now is going through something that is related to you, like they know how you feel and you've explained it and they're like, hey, I think that's what I have. Like I've been told that's what I have. And they're scared of getting the surgery or whatnot. What's some like words of advice or like encouragement you could give someone like through your experiences on, asking yourself like, because I know at that point in time, you were so in pain, like, dude, I don't care. Yeah. Right. But if you could backtrack 3 months, 4 months from then to where the pain was very like minor, maybe still kind of severe, but not to the point to where you couldn't drive. Right. In that point in time, someone could be in there right now. Yeah. So how would you kind of give them words to like, maybe you should think about doing this? Yeah. So if you are in the part of the pain that hasn't stopped you from being mobile, and you're still trying to push things in the gym and you're still trying to do things that you would normally do, but you feel that pain and you know that you have a herniation, please don't push it. Don't make it worse. Do the smart thing and take care of it now. Don't be scared to take care of it. Don't be scared of whatever it is. If you do find a doctor that's like, oh, don't ever train again, find a different doctor. Yeah. But find a doctor that works with athletes. Find somebody who understands what your goal is. You want to be pain-free and you want to still be able to train. Also understand that training might look differently. But don't be scared of that because that is a whole new challenge. And I think that's partially been fun for me. Right. Is just a different challenge. If you're someone who really likes to train, you're still going to love it, Right, absolutely. It doesn't matter. You're still going to love it. It's going to look different, but you're still going to love it. And I mean, I know powerlifters who've had back surgeries and gone back to powerlifting and have been successful and been fine. So again, you don't have to be scared, Right. And if someone said, hey, we can get you, I know there's a couple different surgeries, fusions, I would be weary of. Microdiscectomy or they call it like they put like a spacer in your spine. I guess to make more space for it to so that the thing doesn't do its thing. I wasn't a candidate because the herniation was too big. Okay. But I guess if you have like a mild herniation, they can do the spacer thing. And both surgeries are like outpatient, quick, all of that stuff. Okay. And the rehab and the recovery, like it's fast. It really is. It says they say 12 minutes. They say, they say your
your off period is 12 weeks. And it's like, that seems so long.
Yeah, dude,
I was
3
deathly
months.
afraid of 12 weeks.
All right.
I was like, 12
It's a quarter of the
I was
year.
like, I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to lose you won't lose all your muscle, just so you know.
Right.
In fact, I was thinking I would lose way more muscle than I actually did. And I kind of had convinced myself that I needed to lose muscle for bikini. Because I used to be figure girl. So I've always been a little more muscular than I need to be for bikini. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll lose some. I didn't actually lose anything other than calf muscle, but that isn't from the surgery. That's from not being able to use my leg for 3 months prior to.
Do you think that's genetics, or do you think it's because you were actually focused on your food?
I think, I mean, obviously partially genetics, but I think a lot of it was, I was making sure I got in my protein. I was making sure that you can walk. So after the surgery, you can walk as much as you want. And I was like, well, hot damn,
So
I'm
I haven't been able to walk. So
yes.
Yeah.
So like I would literally, they were like, okay, don't go crazy the first like week. And I was like, okay. So the first like day 3, I was like, I did a 30-minute walk on my treadmill.
Nice, see? Might as well.
Yeah. And then I got up to the point where I was walking an hour a day, and that was my exercise. And I looked forward to that just as much as I look forward to waking up and going to the gym.
Right.
You know, it just became my new thing. You know, I'd get on the treadmill, I'd watch YouTube, I'd do my thing, and like it was just a challenge. I'd be like, can I go for an hour and 5 minutes today? Let's see. But I did all of that, and I think, you know, it helped with the muscle retention. And it's so silly to be so scared of losing muscle, but it was also like, I've spent 16 years trying to build this muscle, and it's just going to disappear.
Right.
It doesn't. You don't have to be scared. So like, put that out of your mind. Like if you are contemplating not getting the surgery or putting it off because of that, do not be scared. And then I would say, once I got back into the gym, it was almost like a little bit of newbie gains again.
Yeah.
You know, because like you've been out.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to focus on glute training and glute training only. And I mean, my glutes aren't crazy, but they're bigger than they were last year when I was on stage.
Boom.
So you get a little bit of a little bump, you know, and there's no other time in life where you're going to get that other than the day you start working out and then when you have to take a long period off, you know? So it can be a good thing.
Yes.
And then I would say if you are nervous, get the surgery, obviously, because it will make you feel so much better, and then set a goal for yourself for those 12 weeks.
There you go.
Set a personal goal that has nothing to do with fitness. And that's what I did. You know, I was like, I want to do a little bit more Bible study, and I want to be more present in my business.
Perfect.
And I was able to focus on those things. And the time's going to go by anyway. So do I want to be in pain or do I not?
Exactly.
So.
That's great. I love that you said that. And also too, if you haven't walked with a purpose for an hour, it's actually really difficult.
It is.
It's hard.
It is.
Like to just move with purpose and just walk. Very difficult.
Yeah. And I would even like do a little incline after like probably 3 weeks. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a little incline.
Oh my God, even that.
So then I would do the little incline. I'm like, all right, you know, it's a challenge.
It is.
It's just, it becomes like a whole new thing that obviously maybe is like, oh, you shouldn't be obsessing over. And I wasn't like obsessed with it, but it was just nice to know. It was nice to see I'm not training, but this walking thing is hard and it's kind of fun. And this is what I have for 12 weeks. So
I'm just happy I can walk.
Let's do this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
So,
that's awesome. You shared some great insights.
I hope so.
On what you've been going through and what you had to have gone through, you know, and then still compete. And then just every time I talk to you, it's always a great talk. You know, I enjoy like listening to you. I enjoy the way you describe things and, you know, pain as an honor badge. I never thought about it. So that's awesome. For everyone listening right now, if they want to reach out to you, ask you a question, or, you know, or maybe even just tag you in their story after they listen to this episode, where's the best place for people to find you?
I spend most of my time on Instagram. So Lifting Lawyer. I did create a TikTok and it's the same thing, Lifting Lawyer. I was on TikTok a little too much. So I was like, I need to stop doing this.
Sometimes you could just keep going. These guys are funny.
So I don't get on there as much anymore. But yeah, you can find me there. My email and stuff is attached to my Instagram.
Right.
But I will answer DMs. Sometimes I don't see them for a while, but I will answer everything that I, you know, within, I would say probably 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
If it's in like if it's in the request side, you know, I don't know why Instagram hides it from you.
I know.
Cause sometimes I just don't realize.
Right. And you're like, all these people want some questions.
Yeah. But if you are somebody who is potentially getting this surgery and you have questions, like please let me know, because there isn't a lot out there for athletes who've had the surgery, like how to handle it. Or just anybody in general, you know? So happy to share my insight and encourage you, and be proud of you, because it is a big decision.
It is. It's your back. Mm-hmm. It's major.
Yeah. But it's a decision that you will be very happy you made if you do it.
Yep. And it's you against you. Just like in the gym, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's always you against you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah. It's
Forget
awesome.
everybody else.
Just
we
focus
don't matter.
on yourself.
Yeah, focus. That's so true, though. I mean,
It is.
Part of the problem is we're all too worried about what everybody else thinks.
Exactly. But, no, that's good though. I'm glad that obviously not glad, but you went through this experience for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're here to help people if they have any questions, and you're here to, you know, explain it if someone else is going through the same thing, make them feel more comfortable. You know, if I'm going to go through something that you just went through, like, you'd make me feel better. If you told me, like, this is what you're going to expect, basically. I'm not a doctor, but it's what I went through.
Yeah.
So that makes people feel good. It's like a hug, you know?
Yeah, yes. And I couldn't find that. I had a really hard time. So I definitely want to be here for people, because it was scary. You know?
Absolutely. I'm glad everything went good, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's great. So Shannon's been on here 3 times. So this is her 3rd time.
I should just become your
co-host. She can just be here forever now. Yeah. But okay, so we're gonna put her other 2 episodes here. I think you were like the first 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was pretty early on.
Yeah, very early. And then you came on, like, I think in the 60s. Because we've had almost 100. We're gonna hit 100.
Yeah, you were killing it. I'm like, I'm honored that you even care to talk to me. That the people
like
that
I
you
said,
talk
that
to,
handle, I was like, gotta have her.
The guests you have are like such high caliber. I'm like bringing it down over here.
No, hell no. You got an amazing story, great experience, and
you
have great knowledge and just great mindset. That's what I've always liked, and that's a big thing. You know, something that you don't see a lot of. Passionate, mental, like, strong people that can make good decisions as an adult.
Now.
You know, yeah.
We make better decisions now.
So yeah, we'll put her other episodes in the show notes down below. We'll also put all her links and everything like that to her Instagram down there in the show notes as well. Always check the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. There are so much good stuff. Yeah, there's so much great stuff there. Not only do we break down the episodes like as if you're going to get a book and read the back of it. It's the same thing with a show note, but you're always going to see amazing stuff there that you can take advantage of, as in reaching out to Shannon, asking her a question right then and there. You can even email her and put in the subject line, I heard your podcast episode. Yes. And then that helps her figure out like where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously busy too. So has a lot of people reaching out to her and stuff like that too. But if you have grabbed any sort of value from this episode, or you just are happy with what Shannon explained, and maybe you're going through a problem right now with the same thing she went through, and she actually made you feel better. Like I said, she kind of gave you like a hug through this podcast episode. All we ask is you simply share this to other people, you know, give it to your best friend, your gym buddy, your mom, dad, cousin, someone that is maybe too stubborn to get the surgery, and you know they're going through the same problem. Like, send this episode out to more people. The more people, the better.
The stubborn part.
It's a real thing. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do it over here. I am your host, Coach Matt, guest speaker Shannon, and we're so happy to all have you here tuning in always. But get out there, train hard,
and live strong.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody. Peace.